Sorry about that, guys. When the wife calls, got to answer. So we were sitting here talking about Light Yagami where we left off. I do apologize again for the interruption. But so we were talking about Light Yagami and how he's thinking through the responsibility of being able to take up that book and doing right by the book. So he made the decision that, you know what, I'm going to do this. I can clean up the world. So he starts being thinking through, one, I'm going to kill criminals, take out, the biggest of the evil people that we have on our plate. But he wanted to also kind of be strategic about it to where it couldn't be narrowed down to him. So he was kind of targeting specific criminals in which to take out. So that's where he kind of made his start. He goes through, after this flashback, of course, speaking with Ryuk about how well he thought this through, how he's going to clean up the world, how he's going to focus on targeting the biggest of criminals first, working his way down to the little criminals, and if everything works out well, then it's going to inspire people to, hey, there's consequences for the things we're doing that are not beneficial, that are not, I guess you could say fruitful, that are not helping the world, so we either be straightened up or we can become targets too. They'll clean their act up. And even more so, he kind of already expressed in that moment the willingness to take the lives of anyone else that may, do wrong in that area. So he's really showing himself to be that hardcore person to, I guess you could say, take justice into his own hands and to change the world from the state that it's in. So in him taking this on, Ryuk kind of questions it. Ryuk kind of challenges it there. But Light kind of challenges him by saying, hey, you're the one that gave me this book. You did this on purpose. What's your goal? What's your intent? Now, Ryuk kind of plays it off like, oh, I had no intent. I just dropped it here. And I wrote it in the language in which everyone would understand. So he wrote it in English, which had Light questioning. It's like, hey, you dropped it here. You must have targeted me. Ryuk is like, no, I wasn't targeting you. I put it in a universal language where everyone would actually be able to read it and use it. So that doesn't mean I picked you out of anybody else. You would just happen to be the one to get it. So now they go into this agreement that they're going to go and do these things. And Ryuk is simply saying or expressing, I just want to witness what happens. That's all I'm here to do, is see what happens. And Light Yagami is taking it in his hands that he is going to be the one to change the world. They go a bit more into the detail of what it is that he's doing to go through this. For example, he's making sure that, one, I need to make sure that my school grades, my performance in school is being maintained. He doesn't need any eyes on him, so he needs to maintain being himself. But at the same time, he's losing sleep by doing this, so it's becoming very difficult to try and do this at the level at which he's doing it, at the pace he's trying to do it, because he also knows he's not immortal, so he has a limited amount of time in which he can successfully pull this off. And as far as we can tell, he was looking to pull this off before the end of his life. We'll get into that portion of the story a lot later in it. But, he's looking to do this within his lifetime. So one of the things that starts to happen after this, you know what? I'm actually going to pause. Let's pause here for a second. So the relationship that's being established between Ryuk and Light, the conversation between them as Ryuk is expressing, hey, I'm here to watch you. You're the only one that can see me because you're the one that's holding the death note. So now we have an established bond. He kind of put that out there to Light Yagami. With the way that he communicated that, it's almost as if saying that they have established a covenant. Because Ryuk expressed to him that if he were to ever lose the book, then he would also lose any memory of having known Ryuk. But on the other hand, too, if Light ever gets found out officially, then Ryuk will be the one to take his life and nobody else. So there's a big portion of that that's so important, is that there was a contract established between them, that there was a covenant established between them. Ryuk put it in his words. He said that they have now a bond. So the deep thing about that is that when it comes to the spiritual realm, there are beings that you establish a covenant with. As Christians, we establish a covenant with our Heavenly Father, our God. We establish a covenant with Him. When Jesus Christ died and rose from the dead, and those that gave their lives to Christ, dedicating themselves to Christ in Him having done that for us, we agree to what they call the new covenant for those of the Judeo-Christian faith. There's an established new covenant, and we now have that relationship with Christ, and in that relationship, we are expected to fulfill the Great Commission, which is going around the world, sharing the love of Christ with everyone and teaching people about who Christ is, but also making sure that we're leading people to Christ. Another aspect of that, making sure that we're demonstrating the miracles of Christ, showing people the power of God. So that is an expectation behind this new covenant. Now, so we have that kind of covenant. And this type of covenant relationship that Light has with Ryuk, it's more so one that you would kind of see falling in line with that of the devil. If you see those in those other in movies where people are making deals with demons, it's their life as they get these special gifts and powers, or they gift these special skill sets that they're looking for, as long as they make a deal with the demon, and then at the end of their life, the demon gets to claim their soul. So and that, of course, takes them out of the running to be even able to go into eternal life. So with Ryuk being able to take claim over Light's life, he doesn't get the option of even getting to go to heaven or hell. That's something that's also expressed in the story in their relationship. But it's almost like a deal with the devil is taking place here. And now, here's one thing that's very tricky. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not speaking to that. But with Ryuk expressing that, hey, I'm not doing anything. I have no plans with this. Ryuk is kind of playing that devil game with Light. Light is a very knowledgeable person. Light is a very strategically smart person. But in that same note, he couldn't outsmart the guy that set him up, which was Ryuk. Ryuk did plan for this in some way, form, or fashion. He wanted someone that was going to pick up the book, cause a certain level of catastrophe that wouldn't lead to there being heavy consequences, at least from the realm, at least from the aspect of the realm in which he comes from. They don't want that kind of attention. And in a weird way, not a lot of other spiritual beings want that kind of attention as well, because we don't see demons just walking around on foot. We don't see, even God, we don't see him coming down on foot to demonstrate himself. If anything, with the New Covenant relationship, we represent him in this world. So that's kind of something where Ryuk is kind of still doing the managing and the controlling of the entire story, but he's letting Light do as Light wishes, which is going to fulfill the releasing of Ryuk of his own boredom. And so that's some clarity to that. Now, to speak on Light a little bit more, I know that he is the smart character. I know that he's the athletically advanced character. But something about him that is very important to point out outside of his intellect is thinking through what it is that he's going to do. Whether it be good or whether it be bad, this is demonstrating that the human being has the capacity and capability to strategize out whatever activity they're going to step into and look to fulfill it to the fullest. Especially when that door opens for them to go into it, and then that fire kicks in, they're capable of very great and even more so dangerous things. We can see that with Light, that he's strategizing, how am I going to successfully kill people? That's something to really keep in mind. How is he going to successfully kill people? How is he going to successfully do that? That's a very dark way to be thinking things out. Now, from the other side of that, he's not seeing it that way. He's seeing it in the way that he's doing something good by thinking in this manner, that I need to take what power I've been given and change the world. How I see fit that I need to change the world, because the system that is in place isn't working. Of course, that is our biggest political and global struggle today, is people are wanting to take it into their own hands how they want to change the world. Granted, that is laid before them to make that choice, but are they prepared for the consequences? That's also something else that needs to be taken into consideration when we look at this storyline, is he going to be prepared for the consequences? At least from what we're seeing, he thinks he's prepared for whatever comes forward. And that leads us to the next portion here. So as we skip over into the book, they get to the point where it's been a couple of more weeks as time's done passed, and the FBI, the global police force, I guess you could say, those above all of criminal activity, watching out and trying to solve these problems, they are actually opening their eyes and saying, hey, these guys are dying. They're dying this way. Something is wrong here. Someone's in control of this. So with them having realized that, they're now trying to put forward, what are we going to do about this person? There's somebody, there's something, let's figure out what it could be. And then we get this introduction of somebody who is a mystery character. We don't know. He's a very kind of drag kind of guy, sitting, just wearing pants and a long white t-shirt, and he's sitting there in front of a laptop as he's speaking to the council of people over this organization, and they're just talking through, what's actually happening. And this is where we kind of get introduced to L, who is another very crucial intellectual character. For some people, he's kind of funny as well as intellectual, but he plays a huge part in the way that this story will actually be playing out. And so, and we're gonna also point out that moving forward, what happens is they go public with wanting to figure out who this person is. They go public with addressing it. So with them having gone public, what starts to happen with that is Light is feeling threatened by this. Light is, how could you want to come against me when I'm trying to do this for the world? He's like, you're not going to be able to take me down. You're not going to be able to defeat me. With him making this promotion with the person that's on the screen that he's seeing, he's telling this person that he's not going to be able to stop me. And from what we can see, the lines have been drawn between L and between Light Yagami. Thank you, guys. That's going to be the end of this portion of today's video. I hope y'all get to check me out next time. Next time, we're going to be talking about Marvel and DC. We're going to be continuing Marvel and Dragon Ball Z. Excuse me. Let me correct myself. Marvel and Dragon Ball Z. We're going to continue that story and see where things go. Let's see what it is that Thanos would ever want to do with the Super Dragon Balls. What are Goku and Vegeta going to do now that the Avengers and the Fantastic Four want to figure out what in the world is going on in their universe? All right, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. Y'all have a blessed day.